everybody. Welcome to D-Town. This is episode 91. It's our fourth season together, I think.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm Larry, and this is RC.
Hey, everybody.
And this is D-Town, the show for DSLR shooters. RC, you have some stuff to start off with.
That's right. I wanted to talk a little bit about night photography. Like we talked about, in the last episode, we talked a little bit about how to be able to keep your camera steady during longer exposures. And we talked a little bit about the use of the tripod, and we talked about cable releases and things like that. But a couple of things that I think that wind up helping when you work with this is being able to keep the camera on for longer and longer periods of time. So the question was posed by Andreas was, how do you work with long exposure? Well, there's a couple of different ways that I do it. What I'll do is, a lot of it has to deal with just kind of experimentation. So I talked in the last episode, mirror lockup. Right? Mirror lockup is going to let us be able to open up the mirror, and then press again, and keep that open for a specific amount of time. However, the problem that you run into with this is when you're working with this in bulb mode, right? Every camera has this specific mode in manual that if you bring down the shutter past longer than it needs to go, it'll bring you to something called bulb, or it'll say B or something like that.
Right.
And what B does is it says, as long as you keep this held down, when you let it go, it's going to turn around and do your exposure, right? So take a look at this. So mirror up, it's set on bulb mode. The first click brings the mirror up.
Right.
The second click is the one that's making the exposure. The moment that I let my finger go is the moment that it stops. So here we are having to do this exposure that's going to be really, really long. How do you do a really, really long exposure and keep your finger on there and go, right? That's going to introduce some sort of shake. And that's where a cable release comes into play. And a lot of the times, like this is the Nikon MC30. It doesn't really matter whether or not you want to be able to use this one or not. That's my PC cord. But any cable release that you buy, I have an $18 cable release that I had at B&H for Canon or Nikons, almost always have this thing on them, a little switch that's called lock. The cool part about that is that now you press this down, that'll open the mirror.
Right.
Then what I do is I switch it over to lock, and then I press it, and I let it go.
And now it just holds it.
So now it just holds it for as long as I need to be able to hold it. The moment that I'm done, all I need to be able to do is just switch the unlock. It comes up, and the exposure is made. Now, how long do I do that for? Right? Because sometimes you're sitting there and you're like, well, I do this kind of, that's long enough, and you go check it. So what I'll do is I'll use my iPad app.
Okay.
And PhotoBuddy was an app that was kind of set up for the iPhone, but I tend to use it on the iPad. What I'll do is I'll press this. In here, you have a whole bunch of different things. You have depth of field calculators, you have sun and moon calculators that tell you kind of sunrise and sunset. So it's a lot of really interesting things. You can also change exposures, which I think is pretty cool. But under the more section, there's a bulb section. Cool. So inside of here, I can go, you know what? I want to be able to do this for 50 seconds. I hit start. 47. As soon as that's done, I'll turn it off.
Okay.
And then I'll unlock it here. So why do I use the iPad versus something, let's say, on my phone? More often than not, if I'm outside, and this is going to be kind of like one of those dumb moments. If you're outside and you're doing long exposure at night, you're probably in a spot where you're going to want to use your phone. You either want to call somebody or have some sort of emergency or do something. I see this all the time with people. When I go out and do nighttime photography, people grab their phones and set the timers on their phones and do all of that kind of stuff. 30 minutes into it, they have almost no battery left. Right. Because they haven't done anything, and now they're going, all right, well, I don't know what to do. Do I use my timer? Do I not use my timer and forget about using it? Don't use your phone. Your phone is, if you're at 3 o'clock in the morning out doing a late shot, you want to be able to call home. Put that in your pocket. Use something like an iPhone or an iPad or an iPod Touch and use those timers so that you can kind of get a little bit more explorative on your long exposure stuff.
Very cool, very cool. And the only little tip that I would add to any of these long exposure things, and you guys have heard me talk about this before, is if you don't have, and sometimes this happens to me, I want to take a longer exposure or something where I don't want the camera to shake, so I don't want to press the button, and I don't have my remote release. I just put it on timer mode and set it for like 2 seconds, and then I set the camera down, click the shutter, and it takes a picture 2 seconds after I let go of the camera. So That's my only little tip, but great stuff on night photography, long exposure stuff, and you do a lot of that.
Yeah, make sure that if you guys have any other questions on all this kind of stuff, go to twitter.com/aboutrc or twitter.com/BeckerBiz to be able to follow that. Now, let's get and take a quick break. When we come back, you have a couple of apps that you want to be able to show us as well, and we also have Mr. Dave Zeiser, so stick around.
We'll be right back.
In a world where everything you know is wrong, one man will risk everything to make things right. This summer, get ready for double the action, triple the excitement, as one man gets by the only way he can, shooting a live wedding. From the producers of Big Game Photography and Mastering Camera Raw comes a class that will blow your mind. David Zeiser, Floof and Run. Exclusively available online at kelbytraining.com.
Welcome back, D-Town TV, the free show for DSLR shooters. My name is RC, and I'm here with Larry Becker. Now, you've got a couple of things that are on the app side as well.
Yeah, in fact, one of these I've talked about before, Easy Release. Just wanted to make sure that you know Easy Release, a really cool app that works with the iPad. It allows you to sign, and I've got my new Wacom Bamboo stylus for people to sign. And it's a really cool model release app, and they've just enhanced it in the past couple of weeks, where they've added a whole bunch more custom fields. And people were kind of griping, well, you have to use their built-in template, and no, you don't. So now you can kind of customize it. But that's not even what I wanted to show you. There's a really cool app called SyLight, and it came out for the iPhone originally, and now it's out for the iPad. And this is one of the diagrams. So let me go back to, I'm going to close the diagram so you can see. So when you have diagrams, they're on the right side of the screen, and you can tap to launch back into the diagram, and you can kind of make whatever you want out of this. There's a little icon at the top center that if you tap on it, then you can kind of see these different things that you might include in a lighting diagram, softboxes, gels, hair lights, and stuff like that. And then all you do is click and hold on one of them. Well, if it's a category, you go to that category. So in this case, I went to umbrellas, and I can click and hold and just kind of drag out and put the umbrella wherever I want, and then I can move it around and resize it. So it allows you to build lighting diagrams, and then you can actually take a picture and attach a picture to it to show what the lighting diagram does, and you can name the lighting diagram yourself. The best thing about this is it's kind of a little bit of a challenging user interface at times. It took a little while for me to figure out, okay, well, you have to double tap on an item and then go into properties, and then don't lock the size, unlock the size, do lock the position, lock the rotation, and then, okay, so the rotation, so 2 fingers for, well, scale. So it's a little challenging to use at first, but once you get used to it, it's kind of cool. And the price is the best point. It's free. Free. So my buddy Terry White told me about this one. Thank you, Terry. I'm going to spend a little bit of time. I'm going to waste a little bit of time creating lighting diagrams for different things, but kind of a cool little app.
You know who's a good person who's like a walking lighting diagram in his head for wedding photography?
Who's that?
Mr. David Zeiser.
Oh, yeah, he is.
He's got some phenomenal lighting inside of his head. Thankfully, we've poured it out of his head and into a tip for you. Take a look at this.
Hey, I got a great D-Town tip for everybody today, and it really has to do with contrast control. We're working in this beautiful location right here. We have Hope turn her head into the light just a bit more, and I look at the photographs, coming in close. In fact, let me come in very, very close. And happy, Hope? Good, good, good. There we go. And when I look at the back of my camera, I got, man, these pretty dark shadows. There's a couple ways we can control the contrast. One way is with an on-camera flash, which I'm not using right now, but that would be the easiest way. But another way would be with your off-camera flash. Just bring it in at a power setting, just to stop and half lower than what we need to open up those shadows, but still not mess with the highlights. Okay, LaDon, go ahead and let's open up the Zumbrella. Okay, and we've determined that 1/16 power is good enough fill here. Come around towards me a little bit more so we don't get cross shadows. And now when I take the photograph again, man, it looks very pretty. Let me come in close. You can see the shadows are filled nicely. Here's our nice finished photograph right here. And that's just a very quick, easy way to fix the shadows. And they look wonderful right here. The shadows, the highlights, just nailed. You can get a lot more tips like this from me over at my Kelby training videos. Check them out.
Mama always said, you gotta preserve the present for those in the future. I think that's what my Romance and Landscape series was all about. I shot for 6 days, 12 hours, and 34 minutes straight. I'm pretty tired. Think I'll go home now.
Welcome back. D-Town TV, the free show for DSLR shooters. Now remember, none of this would be possible without us talking about Kelby Training. Kelby Training is the site that we go to when we want to be able to learn anything on photography, Photoshop, Lightroom, design. It's an amazing amount of stuff. You got to be able to make sure you take a look at that. Go to kelbytraining.com. You're going to be very, very glad you did. Now, we have a photography website.
Yep.
We have a contest.
Yep.
And we have a prize.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the photography.
So this photography, this guy, in fact, if you go to my iPad, I've got a couple of his images. His website is actually Flash, so it's not going to show up here on the iPad, but I have some of his favorite images that I did as screen grabs. And he's got a lot, and he's got a lot of capability. This was just always one of my favorite images. I just really like what he did. And he's got this creative section to his gallery, and I grabbed a couple images off of that. Just cool stuff. His name is Jeff Zoet. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Z-O-E-T, and very accomplished photographer. And this one isn't, he's not doing anything special effects wise. It's just a great capture and a really cool image. So Jeff is a great guy and has a really cool website. You will be inspired if you swing by there, and you'll see there's a couple bikini clad women, but no nudes. So it's child safe, I believe, work safe. But cool website, neat inspiration, cool photographer.
Nice. You know who else I think is a cool photographer?
Who's that?
Ibarian X.
Yeah?
Ibarian X. Ibarian X Perello. The author of...
How about that?
Chasing the Light. I met Ibarian X. Now, Ibarian X has a website called The Candid Frame. Mm-hmm. And I got to tell you guys, I think that this guy gives a mean interview. He's really, really good at being able to sit with people and talk with people, and he's got a great vibe about him. And he's started this thing, The Candid Frame, and it's been actually going on for a while.
Yeah.
And we got turned on to him because of an interview that he did with Scott Kelby. And it was one of those like thoughtful, insightful interviews. I love watching people do interviews. So like I'm a big Larry King guy. Like I liked watching Larry King, and I like watching Piers Morgan. And I like watching people kind of, Barbara Walters, people talking to people and getting information out. And I have to say that I really, really think that Ibarian X is going to be that guy for photographers. I think that he has a phenomenal way of doing it.
He does really unique questions, I think.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just, you feel very, very different with him. But it's one of those things that I think that you have to go take a look at The Candid Frame. Make sure you take a look at that podcast. But he's also a phenomenal photographer, and he's got a book called Chasing the Light. Chasing the Light, improving your photography with available light. And that's the thing that I think that's very different from what we do. We tend to focus a lot on lighting and speed lights and this, that, and the other. But he produces some amazing images with available light stuff. And he's got a really, really nice sensibility for shooting. So this is going to be the prize for our contest.
Well,
all you need to do. Yeah, I figured why not, right?
Very cool.
So you're taking my copy. So Ibarian X. Sorry. But go to thekelbytv.com/DTownTV. Leave a comment. Leave any comment. you know what? Go to the Candid Frame. Take a look at, listen to the interviews. Tell us if you have a favorite. He's got a lot of them. It's going to be hard to pick, but tell us if you have a favorite that's there. Give us a comment. Tell us a positive. Tell us a negative. Tell us an idea, and one of you guys is going to win Chasing the Light by Barry Next.
Right
thanks to the
after
folks
I
over.
read it. I haven't seen it yet.
It's
I
a
gotta
great
thumb through
book. It's a great book. Thanks to the folks over at Peach Pit also for making that happen. But I think that pretty much wraps it up for today.
Another week in the can.
Another week.
RC, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Becker.
He is about RC at Twitter.
And that is Becker Biz over at Twitter. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.